Hello everyone, today I will continue explaining the GAM database. Last lecture I gave on databases, we were able to write a code for 3 categories. First one, get single answer from a database. Second category, get many rows, many columns from database. Third category, insert, update, delete. Fourth category, the time was over, so today I will go through the fourth category. However, I put all the code you need and the instruction in the BBT file that Professor Mahmoud posted on C# website, as well as I created PDF file to show you how to go through all steps on database server to create a stored procedure, and then the code is provided also how to call that. So I will give review little bit for 5 minutes for what we did last lecture to be able to continue, okay? So we created a class. And in this class, the DB function, and in this class we specify the connection string. And as I mentioned, connection string is like the address to show the connection subject later on where to go, what's the machine name, what's the authentication, what is the authentication or information like username and password, and what's the database name, because the server might have multiple databases. So here we said that for password and username we are using integrated security equal true, and this is like a shortcut for using username and password that are created on your laptop. This is if the server on your laptop. Let me ask you a question. If you try to remotely access database which is not resides on your laptop, would you be able to use this technique?
No.
So in that case, you need to create username and password, and I will show you next lecture when we write the code how to do that. This is easier way to work on this on your laptop. So first, so first function we created was getScaler, and this method takes string, SQL string, and return an object. And we are using this approach when we need to get single answer from the database. So we first create the connection object, and we tied it to the connection string. And in try, catch, finally block, we write our code in try. We open the connection, we create command object, and we call execute scalar method, and we return object. This is for the first approach. Second approach, which we need to retrieve many rows and many columns. For the second approach, we create a function, get data table. It takes string SQL and it brings data table. And as we mentioned, it's a good approach to create a blank data table. And it's the same, as we mentioned, it's the same steps, except here we are creating data adapter. However, in the first method, we were creating command object. So data adapter is the object which retrieves many rows, many columns, because command object is only able to retrieve one piece of information. However, data adapter can retrieve many rows and many columns. And we said depends on the on the server database table you are using, and this prefix can be changed. It can be Oracle data adapter, it can be data adapter, and we have to pass it to a piece of information, SQL and connection, the connection object. By passing these two information, the data adapter will have all the information it needs. SQL, what we need to retrieve. Maybe I need to retrieve the last name from students. I need to retrieve course name and course number from courses. So what I need to retrieve from my database, also what's the connection string, which already have the address, the server name, username, password, and database. And we also said you always, and finally we close the connection. Even we close the connection, we have the data table in the memory of our computer, because we use fill method, and fill method, once this line of code gets executed, the data table, data adapter will go to the database, bring all the information we need, and dump this database in our memory. And then once I close the connection, I don't need it. Maybe there's a lot of users are using multiple copies of our database, so we don't need to run out of connections, so we need to close it. And then I have the data table, and then I can display it, I can retrieve whatever information I need. And to demonstrate this, as you may remember, I create combo box, and once the form started, it populates the IDs in the product table. So I create product table which has 3 items with these with the different IDs, and it has product ID column, it has product name, it has price, and it has description. So once I choose or I pick any ID, it will give me all the information related to this ID. So this, I have the ID, this product name, bicycle, the price, and the description. If I go and pick another ID, it will give me the other option, which is calculator, and 1, 2, 3, 6, it will give me the third option, which is laptop. And to go over the code for that, we did 2 things. First, in the form itself, okay, here, in order to populate the combo box with VDIs for product table, I have to write the SQL, and then I have to pass this SQL to DT, because I need to bring all the column. I need to bring the product ID, the description, and the price, and the product name. So I have to use which approach? Get data table function, where we create data adapter, and we call fill method. And we always said that for this function it takes SQL and it returns data table. And we loop through all the rows and all the columns in that table. So here, combo box has collection called items, and always when you see S, that's indicator for this is collections. So always collection ends with S letter. So we cannot add directly to combo box. However, we can add through to the items. And also it uses indexer, here, indexer, to search and populate, to search and bring the ID, and then it gets populated once the form starts. So this code has to be done in form load event. Okay, like sometimes in the exam you might get like what code you need to write in form load, or how we can get how we can populate the product ID in the form, and then you need to mention that this code has to go in form load. Now, any code we need to write in combo box, where when we pick the product ID, we will get all the information or the details related to that particular ID. This has to go in selected index changed event. So last lecture, if you go through the lecture, you will see how I highlight the combo and go to events and make that events, and then write this code here. So simply, this is our selected ID from the combo box, and here we need to bring all the data related to that particular ID, and we give it to we invoke get data table function, and now we have it in our memory in the data table. And here how I go through how we go through all the column. So as I said, rows also is the collections, and here is the column name. And this is indexer, as you know. And then in the indexer we don't go by the number, we go always by the name of the column. Okay, this to be able to understand this part of code. Also, there is a very powerful tool we can use to display all the values that we have in our data table, and this called grid view. And how I get this one, I go to toolbox, I go to data, and from data I can pick data grid view. Okay, so I can get that, and here we can give it a name. I only need to give it a name, and then I will use it to display all the column from my database. So because I already put one, so I delete this, and we can see here, instead of writing this code, we can do easier way. It depends like how you would like to display your the details of the product. Would you like to display it in grid view, or would you like to display it in text box? So here, to view the data table in a grid view control, we use what's called data binding, and it's a two-step process. First, we write the name of the grid view. I give it a name db1 dot data source equal dt. So dt is data table, which has all this information here, and then db1 dot refresh. So it's only two line of codes, two-step process. First, we put all the data in data table. We get that sources, all the data, and then we do a db1 dot refresh. And let's try. So I will get all that data here. If I pick, so because I highlight that, I don't need to display it in a text box. And I think that this is easier instead of hard coding the column. If you use like this one, it will give me the details which related to this particular product, and if I use this one, I will get the same data I have in the table in my database. So now you have two ways, this way and this way. The way that we display our data, it's up to the user how he likes to see the data, but at all cases you need to issue SQL, and you need to send it to, we need to call that function which bring us the data table with all the details that we need. Okay? So we also explain the third approach. Let's go to the function. So third approach was to insert, update, delete. Sometimes I need to delete from a table or insert into a table or update field in a table. So for this function, we send SQL and we return integer. So for insert, update, delete, no matter what's the statement, I always will get one answer. So the answer is a number. That's why the function return integer. The answer will be how many fields got modified, on how many fields got affected by insert or update or delete or update. So if you see here, we return the rows, the number of rows, and here we give it because our code, we will write our code in try. So we give it before that value equals 0. So let's say if there is no rows got affected, we will get 0. That's mean no rows got affected. And it's the same thing for creating connection string and connection object and type connection string to the connection object. The only difference is what I will write and try, and what command what object I will use. I have two kinds of objects. First, command object, which can bring one piece of information, or data adapter, which can bring many rows, many columns. So for this approach, which object I can use? Command object. But what's the difference between third approach and first approach? Is this method execute query. So this one, just to distinguish between the first approach and the third approach. Okay? So if I execute non-query, I always will not. It's either insert or update or delete statement. Okay? And we return those. So let's see. Let's demonstrate this. Let's see, I picked the first one, and I want to change the price for 100. Okay? And let's see if I go to the second one and came back. I have to do update. Sorry. So let's again. I forgot to hit the button. You know, this is update price. So let's do it again. So 100, okay, and then update price. Oh, that's the problem. You know what? Who can tell me the problem? Huh? That's actually a good because what I have in the table, only the details I got in data table, which another approach, you know. So I shouldn't change it to here, because this is the command for this is what I need to write for insert, update, delete. So it seems like I send different kind of SQL when I change it from the table. So here, again, I choose this number, and I show you how to disable all column and only allow the user to change the price. There is a property for the text which called read only. So usually it's false. So we go to properties for the text and we change it to true. And then we disable all the text. So while the code running, the user only cannot enter any value in these text, only can enter value and price. Okay. Okay, again, I display all these. let's go to the first product and change it. Okay, and then let's hit update. It will give me update successfully. Okay, and then okay, let's go to this. That means it will be updated in the table in our database. Okay, and now if I go to other product, so I update the price for the product which has ID 1, 2, 3, 4. If I change, I go to another product, I come back, it should be changed. So it's good change. But for update, delete, insert from the grid view, there is other way I will show you next lecture, okay? Because next lecture we will start work on grid views. And if I choose another one, I come back to the first product, so it gets updated. And here is the code. We also update products, set price to new price, where product ID, the ID I will pick from the combo box. And then we issue this SQL to the class, and we bring the result in rows. And this is to show me that it was successfully updated. So this code is uploaded on the website. You download it and you run it, but be sure that to change the server name and create that table in your database. Okay? Okay, now the fourth approach, which is stored procedure. So I'll show you now how to create. So now, is there any question about the first approach or second approach or third approach? It's clear, I think. So first one is how to create stored procedure in database, and for that I also create the PDF to show you how to create the stored procedure in database, and then I will explain how to write the code for that stored procedure. So I will go through it, and then we can create one right now, okay? And we can see how to code from C# code. So once you open your Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, you expand the database you created. Last time we called our database CS4 Fall 2015. Then there is an option called here Programmability Directory. So you highlight that option, and then right click, and then you choose the new stored procedure option. Once you click that, you will get a template. It's already written. This template you will get. And notice that a minus minus in SQL means note. It's a comment. So, and then, so this is the template you will get, and here the stored procedure. So you will see that stored procedure will start with create procedure, and here we will write the name of the procedure. So I show you, so there is some part here you need to delete and write your own code. So what we need to delete, this picture shows what you need to delete. So we leave create procedure, here we delete this and we give it a name, which is the name of the stored procedure. And as I mentioned, SQL, what will be the SQL for in the fourth approach? The name of the stored procedure. And stored procedure can do anything. Can get single answer, can get multiple rows, multiple columns, or can do insert, update, delete. So we delete this line between less than and greater than, and we replace that with the stored procedure name, and then we delete this variable, and we put what variable we need to do. It depends on your code. And I will explain this later more in more details. So the variable in SQL will start with @, then name of the variable, then the type, right? However, in programming, we put the type first, then the name of the variable. So SQL is vice versa. So we put first @, then followed by the name of the variable, then the type of that particular variable. And we can put as many parameters as we want, depending on your code. And here you will see in the code, there is an option called set no count on. You have to comment this out, and I will explain right now why. And in this part, you need to write your statement. So before as begin, here in this area, we write our parameters, and here before end go, we write our statement. Okay. So for the code I just showed you that we created last lecture, I give it a name called SP update price. This is the name of my stored procedure. Depending on the ID I will choose from combo box, I need to change the price. And when I create the table, I mentioned that money in SQL, money type in SQL equivalent to decimal in C#. Okay? So here we need two parameters. First, product ID, so it's integer, and then comma, at sign new price, because I want to sign a new price, because I want to change the price, right? So I want to update the price. So there is a new price, and it's money. So here I will keep the data type money. See what I did? I comment out set no count on. Okay, and then here I will write the SQL I want. So update products. Product is the name of the table. Set, what I want to set, price equal new price. Where the ID, product ID is BID. So depending on the product ID I will choose. I want to update that price, and I want this price to get modified or updated. And then I have to write this statement which select at row count, and this is keyword. So this is returns how many rows were modified. So row count returns how, it's like method returns how many rows were modified. So, and this is a keyword. So typically the stored procedure template has set count on. This is that I just mentioned that we need to comment this out. Which means, so what does that mean? So now, once you create the stored procedure, you will see it like this in blue color, so it's activated. So that means the number of rows have been modified will not be reporting. However, our goal is to return how many rows were affected by update statement. Therefore, you should comment it out, otherwise you will not get the row count answer. Because row count, it's as the name indicates, it will give us how many, the count, like how many rows were modified or it affected. So if it's on, it will not give me result. So I have to comment this out to be able to see how many rows were modified. Once you write your stored procedure, so it's easy. You give it a name, you specify the parameter, you comment out set no count on, and then you write your statement here, and then you select row count. Once you write your stored procedure, you have to execute it. So here there's execute button. You have to execute it, and you need to get command completed successfully. And then after that, you go to your code and you call that stored procedure. So you want to see how to, let's create one, right? Okay. So what we need to do, we go database, we go to our database, and we choose programmability. From programmability, stored procedure. Right click, new stored procedure, I will get this template. Okay? So we need to delete the name of the stored procedure. And let's give it a name. I already have here we need to delete these two. Come on. Before at, we delete these. Okay, never mind, this will get fixed. And then what we need to create at the ID int and at new price money. And then what we need to do? Comment out this line, okay? And here we need to do our update statement that I mentioned here. Update product set price equal to new price where BID equal to BID, okay? And then at select row count. So here we do select. We do select. See, it will give it to me. Row. Okay. We done. And then we have to execute that stored procedure.
End statement is not there.
What?
End.
No, you know what? I will tell you now. Where is mine? Because I name it. Because I already have this stored procedure saved, so I will name it. I will give it one because it's the same. So it will have two stored procedure with the same name. Let's execute this. I think it's supposed to be executed.
The end statement is not there.
I think
So missing end
Where?
statement.
End before go.
You erase the end. Down.
And I changed the name also. Yeah. So we get command completed successfully. Then now we go to our code. So now we create the stored procedure. It's pretty easy, right? And then now let me go for the function inside the class, and then I will show you how to call that from outside, okay? So let's go to the function. So our stored procedure, I give it a name, update price via stored procedure. It will take what? SQL, product ID, and new price. So what's our SQL? Is the name of stored procedure. Okay. And then we will pass this information, this three piece of information from outside the code to the function. And what we need to get, how many rows were updated, so we get integer number. Okay? Because sometimes we don't really consider this the first approach is different approach, because it will do either one of the third approach. It will do either get single answer or return many rows, many columns, or insert update needs. Okay, so the same thing we set up a connection type to connection string. So I will show you what's the differences in this approach. We open the connection and try. We write our code and try. So we open the connection. We call command object because we need to return one answer. So we don't use data table. We use command object. So this is clear. We give it two pieces of information: SQL and connection object. You have to put this, and this is the new thing here. You have to specify the type of the command. So cmd.command type equals stored procedure. If you don't put this, it will not get executed. You will get an error. And then there is a class called parameter, and this class also depending on what kind of database you are using. If you are using SQL database, it will be SQL parameter. If you are using Oracle, it will be Oracle parameter. And now you need to identify the parameters and the type and give it a value, and then add it to the parameters collection. Okay. So first, what we need, SQL is the name of the procedure. We need product ID because this is the ID. The product ID I will choose to modify its price, right? And then I need to
New price.
to change the price. And the price type decimal, and this is equivalent to money in SQL. So how many parameters I have now? 1, 2. So I have to use the class SQL parameter, give it a name, B1, and then assign value, the ID, and the type of the value. So SQL DB type is enumeration. Enumeration, once you type this, the IntelliSense will give you what type what type you want to assign to this parameter. So it's integer, so you pick integer, and then you assign it value. So here we will assign it the value of the ID we will pick, and then we will add it to the parameters, and then you copy this, paste it, and change the other, and change the same, do the same thing for the other, the second parameter, and as many parameters as you have to repeat this 3 steps. First, like specify that parameter and give it a value, and then add it to the parameters. And then at the end, you call execute non-query. Okay. So new price is money. The type is money in SQL. Okay. And here we give it a value, and then we add it to the parameters collection. What we return? We return number of rows good, modified, or click affected. So for the third, this approach also can return many rows, many columns. If the stored procedure return many columns, many rows, many columns, what we need to use instead of command object? Data adapter. So, for example, in the assignment, if I give you like create stored procedure that can return all the product which its price less than 100. So it will bring multiple products, right? And then if I ask for that, then you need to create here data adapter, and you need to call fill function, fill method, okay? To dump all that in data adapter. Is this clear? And then now, if we go to the form, so I add extra button to update via stored procedure. And here the SQL is the name of the stored procedure. But if you remember, I give it, because I have now, I give it 1 because I already have this, so I now recreated that. And then we said that we process result, and we said the new price. After we get that, we have to process the result, so new price is decimal. And we send to that function the SQL, which is the name of the parameter. We have to comment out this. And the product ID and the new price we assign. Let's try. But before you do that, be sure that you execute your stored procedure and it's successfully, because we need to know where is the problem. It's from the stored procedure or it's from our code. So let's take this one. So make it like, for example, 300, and let's do this. Update it successfully. Okay. And let me check this first item, and let me go to the last one. So it's good. Change. Okay. this is the last thing I want to explain about stored procedure. So this code is already uploaded. Just download and you can recreate it. It's easy, and you can try to display your data in grid view or in text. Also, I wrote everything I have written here. It's all is explained in the BBT file. For each command, I put nice explanation. If you go through it, you will understand. Okay. Now, we also upload backup file for database. This is the student database that Professor Mahmoud created. It has multiple tables. And he created backup file, and now I told you that sometimes maybe you have the database on another machine and you need to restore this database on your machine. So now I show you how to restore, and also I will always in PDF file on how to restore database. Like if somebody gives you the database and you need to start what steps you need to go through, and you need to do that because all the next lectures about database will, depending on, we will apply it on this database, student database. So this is the document. You will see instruction on how to restore database backup file. So you need to expand the database directory, and then right click on system database directory, and then hit restore. And here you have to choose from device, and click on little button here. It will give you this screen. You have to choose add to browse the location of the backup file. You will get this screen and you browse it wherever it's in your computer, and then you click OK. It will get right here. So you had highlighted. We will do this right now. And then after you highlight this and you click OK, and then here you have to give it a name, any name you like. And then now you will have the two files I mentioned, which MDF, LDF, which data file and log file. You have to choose these. And sometimes maybe my backup file was on D drive, and you want to store it on C drive. So now, if there is, so what you have to do in this case, you have to go to options, and in this option, you have to change the drive from D to C. For the database, I asked Professor Mahmoud to update. I created on C drive, so there is no problem. Just extra information. If I give you something on different drive, you have to go one extra step to option on the left hand side, and then I will show you right now, and then change the location for log file and data file. Okay? And then you will get that it's stored. You will see the tables and the content of that database here. This is all the tables that we have: courses, student, enrollments. And then if you browse the path, you will see the two physical files I mentioned last lectures. I said one MDF and one LDF. Okay. So now let's try to demonstrate this. So system database, restore databases. We choose from device. We go here, line, and then we click add, and then we browse it. So this is the backup file. By the way, the backup file is zipped, so you need to extract that, and then here you will be able to browse the location and choose it, and then click OK. Be sure it's highlighted and then click OK. So now you have to give it a name, let's give it SST. Oh, SST. And then we have to choose these two files. Click OK. There is also other option that you go to options. I told you if my backup file was on D drive and you want to store it on C drive, you go to option. You will see here it's on C. So you can here change the path. But because the one I give it to you, it's on C drive, and you most likely will extract it on C drive, so no need to do that. And the restored database is completely successful. I'm going to finish. You will find this database, SST. You will find all the tables. You can give it any name you like. See, I will delete it right now because I already have it. I give a different name to show you just how you can do the process. So we have course table. It has 2 columns. And as I mentioned last time, if you want to see what column you have, you go right click, design, you will see what's the column name and the column type. And if you want to see the entry, you go edit top 200 rows, and then you will be able to see all the entry, all the rows in that table. So course name, it has primary key, it's a unique key, cannot be duplicated for 2 items. And here the course name is the key. Also, if you see student, if you expand student, go to column. If you go to design, you will see that we have student ID, student name, first name, last name, address, major. Also, if you want to see the rows, you will be able to see all the rows. Here, enrollment, if we want to track whose student is registered in a specific course. So we created enrollment table. An enrollment table, it has course name from course table. So this is foreign key, and student ID from student table, and this is foreign key. And we have section name because the class may be class 1, 2. There's 2 sections, and here how many credits, how many hours, I think. So now I will delete this because I already have student DB, which is the same. Just delete. I try to close it before it's finished executing. But you can delete the any database easily. Let's do that. So we delete that. Because I have it here, it's the same. It has all the tables. So is it clear now? So now you have to study the presentation and the code. Try to recreate the code by yourself. See how to create stored procedure, how to call from C# call, and then you need to restore this database, okay? To be able to continue the next step. So now I will give, we will continue database, and I will give a small presentation about So I give a small presentation about SQL review, SQL comments, and I also created code, and I apply all the commands I will show you right now. and we will see the difference between each one and the variation of select statement, insert or update or delete. And then once you are good at that, the next lecture we will go to little bit higher level and talk about layered architecture in database. So try. Huh? This will be uploaded. Actually, Professor Mahmoud is the one who uploaded the material on the C# website, so I don't have access for that, but I will give him all the information. So what I already explained is already on the website. The code I completed, the PDF for recreating stored procedure and PDF for restoring database. It's already there. So the new thing is this presentation.
This is not gonna be on the.
This is will be appear on the website next when he come back next week. I will.
So this is gonna be part of the exam.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I will email Professor Mohammed not to.
So we don't have access to
bring,
that.
yeah. Yes. I think it won't be a problem. Everything will be in the exam.